U.S. and Russian officials are in a bid to end the war in Ukraine. Delegations met in Saudi Arabia today to work out a path for peace talks.
Moscow and Washington are also aiming to renew a relationship that's become tense. Plans include a potential summit between Presidents Trump and Putin. Senior Washington correspondent Tara Mergener tells us more.
It's a high-stakes meeting with potential global impact. For the first time since the war began, U.S. and Russian officials are sitting down face-to-face, hoping to find common ground and possibly a path to peace.
U.S. and Russian officials meet in Saudi Arabia for their most extensive discussions in years. This as President Trump pushes to end the war in Ukraine, and both sides seek to warm up their frosty relationship. Secretary Marco Rubio with National Security Advisor Michael Waltz and Special Envoy Steve Witkoff announced the main objectives.
We're going to appoint our teams respectively to work very quickly to reestablish the functionality of our respective missions in Washington and in Moscow. For us to be able to continue to move down this road, we need to have diplomatic facilities that are operating and functioning normally. The second point is that we're going to appoint a high-level team from our end to help negotiate and work through the end of the conflict in Ukraine in a way that's enduring and acceptable to all the parties engaged.
I think as a discussion today with the U.S. team are very important, and we've been consistently saying that good U.S.-Russia relations are very important for the whole world.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio, joined by top national security officials, aims to lay the groundwork for a future meeting between President Trump and Vladimir Putin. These talks follow a phone conversation last week lasting 90 minutes.
Moving along, we're trying to get a peace with Russia and Ukraine, and we're working very hard on it. It's a war that should have never started.
Absent from the discussions are U.S. allies in Europe and Ukraine. Ukrainian President Zelenskyy is expected to visit Saudi Arabia tomorrow, but says he has not been invited to the talks. Zelensky's made it clear that Ukraine will not recognize any agreements made without its participation.
Maybe there is something at the table, but not on our table.
Zelenskyy also warning President Trump in a recent phone call that Putin cannot be trusted. The U.S.-Russia dialogue has sent shockwaves across Europe, prompting leaders to gather in Paris for an emergency summit to plan their response.
I think the most important thing about this meeting tonight is the need for all of us to step up when it comes to our spendings on defense. Russia is not only a threat against Ukraine, but all of us. So we need to scale up, and we need to speed up, and to do that we need also a discussion in the European Union about the fiscal rules.
The Trump administration's decision to engage in these talks represents a significant shift in long-standing U.S. foreign policy, not only in Europe, but also in the Middle East. Yesterday, Rubio met with the Saudi Crown Prince to promote President Trump's idea of a U.S.-controlled Gaza Strip. In Washington, I'm Tara Mergener, CBN News.
What an absolutely fascinating geopolitical situation we have here with enormous consequences. U.S. and Russia speaking within a month of Trump taking office. European nations saying they're being sidelined. Zelenskyy and Ukraine not invited to the talks. Doesn't seem to do much for their negotiating power. And Marco Rubio is going to act with great political savvy and authority. He is walking a very fine line. We'll see what develops this week.